Hey guys, glad you stopped by. So today, dessert, right? I love dessert. Yeah, there's so many things about dessert. And you would think it'd be limited. Every time I think I've run out of ideas, something new comes around. And today's really no different. We are going to do a sheet pancake, which is basically we're going to take a cookie sheet. Well, it's a 12 by 18 cookie sheet. It's not a big cookie sheet, and we are going to bake a cake on it. And it's going to be a pink lemonade cake. I think this is going to be fun. It is going to be sweet, lemony, pink in color. It has a glaze icing on the top of it that I think is going to be really good. Yeah, and it's but it seems like not a overly lemony cake, but just a hint of lemon. Either way, I think it's going to be pretty solid, and I can't wait to try it. Right? So, that being said, if you are new to the channel and this is your first video, welcome. Hope you get something out of this video. Maybe check out some of my other videos. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. I appreciate it more than you know. If you haven't done so yet, while I'm talking here, you can like, subscribe, and share all three. Hit the notification bell. That's always awesome. And that way, you don't have to sit here and listen to me ramble. You can do that. By the time I'm done rambling, you're done with that. We can head on over to start making this cake. But in the meantime, comments always welcome. Love comments. All I ask is you be polite. You don't have to agree with me or anybody else in here. You can even tell me I talk too much. That's fine. I'm just letting you know now. I'm already aware. But all I ask is you think before you type and be civil. That's it. Yeah. Now, that being said, hopefully you use this time to either listen to me ramble or if you hadn't already, hit the subscribe button, notifications. Awesome stuff. I will give you all your measurements and cups, teaspoons, tablespoons, along with grams and milliliters. That way, no matter where you're at, you can play along. So, that being said, why don't we head on down here to the counter and we are going to start making this pink lemonade sheet cake. Alright? Hold on for me 1 second. Alright, we are down here at the counter. So, first things we need to do is I went ahead and put our oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius. Got it warming up. Now, as far as things you'll need for this, I haven't mentioned it in a while, but scales, especially when it comes to baking. Gives you the most accurate measurement. Even if, like in everyday life, you use cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, when it comes to baking, if you can use grams and milliliters, you will be able to fine tune everything you ever baked, hands down. So I highly recommend a scale. Plus, it gives you consistency every time. And then we are going to need, depending on your setup, 3 bowls and a hand mixer. Or I'm going to do 2 bowls, a hand mixer, and my stand mixer, because we're going to need 3 bowls. This comes in 3 parts, so to speak. Not hard, but the cake portion comes in 3 parts. So the first thing we need to do after we set our oven, we have got our 12 by 18 pan here, and if I can get the thing to open, we are going to go ahead and I'm just going to take some spray and give this a good spray. And make sure my floor is really slick afterwards by putting that on there, but it'll be fun. And this is also the first time I've ever made a cake where I didn't butter and flour or use parchment paper, but the recipe didn't call for it. So I am going to, for whatever reason, trust in the recipe, right? I said just spray your 12 by 18 pan. That's what I did. Got the oven set, got the pan sprayed. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put our dry ingredients together, and it's only 3 dry ingredients, so it should be fairly easy. We're going to start off with, in a medium-sized bowl, 2 1/4 cup, 280 grams worth of cake flour. It's a Pioneer Woman recipe, and they almost swear by cake flour pretty religiously. And I don't remember offhand, I'll put it right here. If you don't have cake flour, don't want to buy it for just this recipe, there's 2 things you can buy. It's all-purpose flour, but I can't remember what the other one is, and I'll put it right here so that way you know, along with what it is. It's a cup to teaspoon ratio of something, but I don't remember what. Anyhow, boom, right there, 280 grams. And we're going to follow that up with some salt. I got 3/4 cup of salt, 3/4 cup, 3/4 teaspoon. Teaspoon? Yes, 3/4 of a teaspoon. Sorry, 3 grams worth of kosher salt. We're gonna put in there. It is a humid day and everything is wanting to be sticky, but it's not hot. That's always awesome. And then the last thing we're gonna put in our dry is 1 tablespoon, 15 grams of baking soda. Sorry about that. I got the recipe right here because it reads big. I'm gonna have fun typing this out down in the description, but we will get it done, right? But we're gonna take that, and then I'm gonna reach behind you here, and I'm going to grab my whisk, or a whisk. Sorry for the interruption, and we're just gonna give this a good quick whisk, like such. Now here is, at this point, is where I wish I had 2 bowls for my stand mixer, but I don't. So we are going to take that and set it to the side, and then we are going to take a medium-sized bowl, and in this medium-sized bowl I am going to put 1 cup. Now we need a total of 1 1/4 cups of granulated sugar, but we're going to start with 1 cup and reserve the 1/4 cup for another portion. And this is 200 grams. We're going to throw that in there. And then we are going to, did I get that out? I have got 2 tablespoons of lemon zest, right? And that's just grated off the lemon. And it's 2 lemons, just 2 lemons. Is what gave me 2 tablespoons, 2 medium-sized lemons, which I actually get to weigh it this time, and it weighed heavy. It's 6 grams of lemon zest. Now, what we want to do now is we're going to combine these 2 right now. And what this does is lemon zest can clump. It's you know, it's sweet and it's moist from the liquids inside the lemon, but it's actually sweet. This is the sweet portion of the lemon. It's the white below it that's tartar. The tartar is bitter. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to simply take my hand and we're going to rub this sugar and the lemon zest together until it's broken up. That way it doesn't clump together, because it will stay clumped together. So, but we don't want that. We want it to be broken up. Okay, so now we got our lemon completely up in there, so there's not really any clumps. It's all separated, right? So we'll go ahead and get that off our hands real quick. Next thing we're going to add to this is our butter. Large bowl, sorry. Sugars, that's my hand. Yeah, we're going to add our butter, which is 196 grams or 1 3/4 sticks, 14 tablespoons worth of butter. We're going to put that in. We're going to follow that up with 2 teaspoons, 8 grams of vanilla extract, and 1 tablespoon, 15 milliliters of lemon juice. And the lemon juice I simply got from the lemons, the 2 lemons that I used to get the zest. I went ahead and squeezed them and got the lemon out, because we're going to need it in 2 parts, 1 for the cake, 1 for the glaze that goes on it. And then if you need to, you can add a little extra if you have lemon juice in the in your fridge. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take these, and my butter is at room temperature. Everything is at room temperature that we're using. But we're going to go ahead and mix this on a medium high. We're going to work it up to medium high from low and mix it for about 3 to 5 minutes until everything's light and fluffy. Alright, so we have gone to 3 to 5 minutes on our butter and sugar. And let me get this cleaned up here right quick, and I'll show you what I mean by light and fluffy. Now, you do still want to, if it, well, I was just about to say if at all possible, but you still want to, just much like when you're using your stand mixer, you want to stop and scrape down the side. You know, you're still going to have spots that don't always reach. You'll hit that like curve area right in there, and yeah, I've yet to see a hand mixer that actually conforms to that. But it'll also make sure we don't have any lumps butter in here. And when you're looking at light and fluffy, you're looking for it should look like mashed potatoes, basically. Yeah, is what we're looking for. So now we got our sides all scraped down. We're going to need, our next ingredient is going to be 1 1/4 cup, 300 milliliters of whole milk. Now, I don't know, and have never been made this before. I'm sure you could use 2% if you wanted to, but I'm gonna guess that we need the fat of the whole milk for the moisture in this cake. But what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna do this a little different than like a traditional cake, because normally when you we're gonna split the load. So we'll do normally it's like dry, then wet, then dry. But this time around, since I've got so much milk, I'm gonna do half of my 1 1/4 cup of milk first. I'll mix it in, then I'll add my dry, then I'll add more milk, and then I'll add the other half of my dry. You always want to end on dry. I'm just leery about, because that's some pretty dense, that's a dense start, so I don't know if putting all of that dry in here, or at least half that dry in here before I add milk, will help our cause any. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll start with half the milk, then half the dry, then the other half of the milk, and the other half of the dry. So now that we've got our milk in and our dry in, I'm going to go ahead and mix this till it's just combined. So it doesn't have to be, super beat up on, but we want it, pretty close. Alright, so we are where we need to be with the batter so far. We got that in and we've got it combined. I don't know why I just tried to stick that in the sink. That was really crazy. But now I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off my sides, wipe them down, because we got batter splatter and we've got a little bit of dry, and it's always good to give it a good once over anyhow. Make sure things are where they need to be, right? We don't want big clumps of dry or butter or anything like that, and so far we're looking good. So now is where a third bowl would come in handy. And I'm gonna grab my stand mixer real quick and set this to the side, because I've got 4 large egg whites, which is about 130 grams worth of egg white that I have available. And what we're gonna do is we are going to beat those, not whisk, but beat our egg whites in here. Let me get this all set up. I'll be right back. Okay, so we were down here at the counter. I brought you in close because I want you to see what we're doing. So I've got my 4 egg whites right here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to drop them in, and we're going to start beating this, and we're going to beat it on a medium to medium low speed, and we're going to go until they get foamy, which is what I want to show you. Alright, so we are nice and frothy. I'll slow her down, stop her there so you can see. Let me see if you can see. I'm working with the new, see how it's nice and foamy, and it doesn't look like egg yolk anymore. That we are on our way to soft peaks, basically. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn my speed down for a minute, but we want to keep it going. And I've got a 1/4 cup, 50 grams worth of just regular granulated sugar, and I'm going to mix this in as it spins. That way we don't completely flatten our eggs. And then we're going to let this go on a high speed. If you're using the KitchenAid, my high speed to me is 8. So I'll work it up to that, and I'm going to let this run for about 3 minutes until I get some fairly stiff, glossy peaks. Okay, so then run 3 or 4 minutes at least, and we're gonna give her a check. I can tell you it looks like I can feel it in here. It's pretty stiff, but see how I got a peak on there and it doesn't flop over? We're there. So we will go ahead and grab our spatula like such, and what this does is it creates air and lift into your batter. You know how like our batter at the moment is it's dense. What this will do is it'll add a little air to it. It's kind of like a fancy way of adding air to it, in my opinion. Sometimes it's necessary, but all you're doing is making a basic meringue like you would use on a lemon meringue pie. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to take it and see how we got our meringue. And we've got our batter right here, right? Shove that out of the way. If you are new to my channel, this is your first video, you are looking at my entire kitchen at the moment. We're working on bigger, better projects, but at the moment. So what we'll do is we're going to take, maybe not quite half of this, but you want to put a little bit in there. It's kind of like a starter set, right? And then we're going to just fold this in, and as soon as I get this folded in, I'll go ahead and keep adding it in until we get all the meringue, or all the egg white into our batter. Okay, so we got her folded in, right? And see how nice and fluffy that is now comparatively? It's almost tripled in size. And to fold, all I do is I come around once I get it in there and go across. Come around and go across. And that way, you don't, what you don't want to do is you don't want to smash, because then it defeats the purpose of making it airy. So now we've got our pan in front of us, and we're going to put our batter on there, and we're going to put it on even. So what we'll do is we'll get this on here like such, and now that we got our cake batter on there, we'll go ahead and use our offset spatula. You can also use the back of a spoon. What you don't want to use is if you have a rubber spatula like this one, you don't really want to use it. And the reason for that is because it sticks, everything sticks to a rubber spatula. Why? I don't know, but it does. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use our offset spatula to get this on here nice and even. All right, we got her good and even. Or at least as close as I'm going to get it to even. This is the hope and pray portion. So now what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven, and we are going to bake it for 20 to 25 minutes. Things we are looking for in this case are going to be, it should be pulling away from the sides, right? So our cake should, I would dare say, start shrinking, right? So it'll come in off the sides. We should be able to put a toothpick in it, and it should come out clean, right? No batter, maybe a little bit of crumb, that's acceptable. What you don't want to do is, this will be really easy to overbake like a Swiss roll, because it's thin. So start looking at 15 minutes through your window, or however it is you check cakes, and that way you'll know. But toothpick test, away from the edges, and I'm gonna assume it's gonna have a nice golden brown look on the top. But let's get it in here, and when I come back, we'll take a look at it and see if I was right or not. All right, see you in a second. Okay, so we are out of the oven, and I'm starting to crack. That kind of bites, but that's all right. Shouldn't be bad. So what we want to do is we're gonna look and make sure that we don't have any. And literally, we're looking at from there up. That's how thin that cake is. And it took about 23 minutes, not quite 25. And if we look, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but we're pulling away from the edges. So we are doing everything that it's supposed to do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and turn our oven off. We're going to let this cool down to room temperature. And in the meantime, we can go ahead and make our glaze for it. So when I come back, well, we're gonna let it cool a little bit first, but when I come back, we're gonna make our glaze, then we can put her on top and talk about what to do next. All right, see you in a second. All right, so we are down here back. Cake is pretty much cool. Now, with it being as thin as it is, it doesn't take long. I mean, we're talking maybe 20 minutes tops. So, but we are cool. It got cool quicker than I could actually get everything set out and moving on. But now we're gonna make our glaze. The glaze is pretty easy, kind of straightforward. It only has like 4 ingredients. First thing we need to do is we're gonna take 1 tablespoon of butter. And in this case, and it's a rare bird for me at least, we are using salted butter for all of this. I have never in my life used salted butter to bake with. That's what the recipe called for. So I don't want to take away from it. I don't know what the purpose is behind it. But we're going to go ahead and put our 1 tablespoon, 14 grams of butter in there. And then we're going to add to that a half a cup, 150 grams worth of strawberry jelly. Now, I could not find jelly. I could find jam, preserves, and all natural spread. So I went with the closest thing I could think of to jelly, and that was jam. But I've got a half a cup, 150 grams of strawberry jam. And if you can find seedless, you want to get seedless. Again, I could not find a seedless jam in my neck of the woods, or a seedless jelly. So I went with, like I said, my best option, which was a strawberry jam. And it doesn't appear to have a lot of seeds in it. But we're going to go ahead and get this heated up and mixed together. Okay, so we've got our jam and butter mixture melted and stirred together. So, and it's not incredibly hot. We made it just so it was melted and thinned out. So now, and I was thinking about this, if you have a strainer and the seeds really, you don't want any seeds in it, and that's all, like you can't find a seedless jelly like I did, or like I could not, you could pour this through a strainer as you're pouring it into the mixer easily. You'll have to forgive my neighbor Bo. He always has a lot to say, but he's my neighbor, so what do you do? So we got that going. Now we're going to add 3 cups, 390 grams of powdered sugar. Well, actually here, why don't we add the 3 tablespoons, 45 milliliters of lemon juice in there first, right? And then we will add our 3 cups, 390 grams of powdered sugar, and we're going to throw that in there, and we're only going to do a little bit at a time. I suppose you could probably do it all at once, but I'm going to half it because it just seems like that's a lot to do all at once. So we'll go ahead and get this mixed, start getting this mixed with the whisk attachment. Thank you, Hi. And after that gets incorporated into the liquid, I'll go ahead and add the other half. Alright, so I got that first bit done. I just got my mixer on low, like I said, with the whisk attachment. And I added the other half of that. Now I'm just going to kick this on. We're going to mix it, not on high or you'll have a face full of powdered sugar, but on a good medium speed there, at medium low speed, 2 to 3, until it's nice and smooth. Okay, so I got what appears to be smooth and creamy. Now, strawberries have a tendency to not be as pink as some people like them to be. And remember, we're making a pink lemonade cake, so you want it to be pink. Now, you don't have to do this, of course, but since strawberries don't really have a naturally like bright pink color, I am just adding like maybe 3 or 4 drops of pink food coloring into this, and you can add as little or as much food coloring as you like, depending on how bright a pink you want. Now, I am using a gel, not a liquid, but like I said, maybe 4 or 5 drops tops, and I'm gonna let this run for another minute so that way I can get the gel all the way through. Okay, so we got our powdered sugar mix, our glaze nice and smooth and pink. I think we're in good shape there. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this onto our cake here. And now that we got it under our cake, go ahead and grab that handy offset spatula again. And we're gonna spread this out till it covers the whole cake, obviously. And then we're gonna let this set for an hour or 2, just to let this glaze firm up. All right, guys, so we are complete. We let her sit for a couple hours, and I did crush up some dehydrated strawberries and throw it on top. I wasn't going to, and I thought, no, it would add a nice bit of something to it, and they recommended it in the recipe, so why not? So now all we have left to do is give her a cut, get us a small piece over. This is for a crowd, a tailgate, a party, a football get together, a gathering, anything.
But we're gonna get us a piece cut here, see how it tastes. And that way I know if I'm taking it to work Saturday or if I'm going to eat it all tonight. I'm just kidding. I've been doing very well on my diet and I don't intend to change that at all. Alright, here we go. Okay, nice. Now I took what was probably going to be a normal size piece. It's about 3 inch by 3 inch, 2.5 by 2.5. Because like I said, it's to feed a crowd, so to speak, but I think that looks really nice. Here, let me get you over here so you can see what's going on. I feel like I'm playing into the corner, and I don't like it. Not one bit. Matter of fact, not only am I gonna bring you over that way, but we're gonna bring you up some. Now bear with me, like I said yesterday, if you caught yesterday's video, and if you didn't, check it out. Cowboy beans, you can't go wrong with those, especially in a slow cooker. They're amazing, but I have a feeling this is gonna be amazing too. So let's see what we did. I'm thinking whipped topping dollops on it already, but let's see how she tastes without them. By golly, that is pink lemonade. That is so good. So good. And it took no time. I mean, really, it would probably take you half the time it took me, and that's just because I was talking, right? And that would feed a family. This would be good for at least a week, and especially if you have it in the fridge, put some saran wrap on it. If you're going to a get-together, a potluck gathering, tailgating, having a football party for Saturday or Sunday for your favorite team, this would be a fun one to make and would take no time at all. I mean, no time at all. You make this, make the cowboy beans we made yesterday, you're off to a really good start with these. So, let me know if you do try this down in the comments below. It tastes just like pink lemonade. It's not horribly tart though, it's not horribly sweet. The strawberry and the lemon go together just good enough to make it pink lemonade. That's good. But yeah, let me know. Let me know if you do try this, or if you have something that you do that's, you know, similar to this, you know, or a sheet cake of your own, you know, pancake that you do, let me know. It'd be a fun conversation, you know, hands down. Hands down. Next week, no clue. You know, of course I never do know. But we're gonna definitely do some dinner and dessert. I have decided that although I did a video on my cast iron, I think that's gonna be like a bonus video for like a Saturday or Sunday or something like that, along with the dog treats. I haven't decided yet, but we're gonna make those. I just keep forgetting to get natural peanut butter at the store. Honestly, it's a lousy excuse, but it's an honest one. So anyhow, I am going to go finish cutting this up, put it in the fridge, let Chris know it's done so she can have some dessert. And until next week, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. They may need to hear it, especially nowadays. You just never know. And either way it goes, it's gonna make them feel good. It's gonna make them smile. It's gonna make you feel good. It's gonna make you smile. And if you make some of this pink lemonade sheet cake, I guarantee they're gonna smile. You know, guaranteed. It's gonna, if it's cold where you're at right now or cool, it's gonna remind you. It can remind you of summer. It's just good all around cake, especially with a nice drink and evening of conversation. There's definitely enough there. You can invite 20 of your closest friends over and still probably have a couple pieces left over for the next day. But that being said, until next week, I love you, and I will see you then. All right, see you later. Bye bye.